Hello everyone. This is a wonderful opportunity to introduce my great guest, Gina Starbuck. She is a movement medicine therapist and a dancer and an extraordinary human. And she very kindly has agreed to have an astrological origins session, so Galactic Astrology. And yes, I'm very grateful and honored to be here with you, Gina. So welcome.
Thank you. I'm honored and excited. I of course, am happy to receive whatever it is you're gonna, bring through today. I'm always in inquiry and desiring to deepen and learn more about myself, because it's clear to me that the more I dive into me, the more I have to offer everybody else.
That is so true. That is so true. So yes, thank you. Yeah. So, well, I had much fun looking at your chart, and I know we had set up to have this session for, I want to say maybe 2 months ago. So I know I started looking at your chart, and then we had to postpone, and here we are. And I looked at your chart again. It was funny because I was like, but I know this chart. And then I realized I had already looked at it. But in so many ways, I know your chart, because what's amazing is that lately I have very similar soul groups. I think the soul groups are being called like almost as if I'm attracting the soul groups, because your alignments are very similar to a couple of others that just came towards me. So I thought how interesting how it works that, though we were going to meet, I think maybe 2 months ago, it plays out that I have the others that came in that have similar alignments. And so let me tell you where they are. So I'm looking at your chart from the point of view of the Earth, but also from the point of view of the Sun. And I am looking out from the chart out into the outer star system. So not only the 12 constellations that we used to working with in Western astrology, but I go further out and I'm looking for alignments that are really, really close, 3 degrees to your significant planets. So I sent you a few things, and I will share a little bit more in a minute. But one thing that stands out immediately is how connected you are to the what I call the gates. So the gates can be intergalactic portals, but they can also be entry points into this galaxy. So I want to say this part of astrology is so new, and it came to me because I had this desire to understand more on the Bohemian stars. It began like that, but also in collaboration with the fact I was doing past life regressions, and so many of my clients were going into future lives, but they were also telling me what Earth was going to look like in years from now. And they would bring information from the star nations, and I started to look at the chart because I knew I could somehow map the desire of the soul and somehow map the work that they would be inspired to do in the world, and somewhat look at the mission. It's of course very individual and creative, so the way you create it, it's your own. But there are clear indications in astrology. So I wanted to know more. So this is why I started going into the fixed stars, and then I went out into this galaxy. So this is all to say that all I can look at is what is within the 88 constellations, and in particular the habitable zone in this galaxy. So our solar system is in our own galaxy, whatever the name for this galaxy may be to all. We know it is as, often we call it the Milky Way galaxy, but exactly what it looks like to other people and what the representations of that would be, we don't know. But certainly, although NASA hasn't really revealed a lot, and we were also excited about their, whatever their new James Webb telescope was going to show us. Obviously, they still haven't shown us very much, but they have released a lot about the water that it's available in many other locations, star systems and exoplanets. And so, yes, the habitable zone is, excuse me, is it's really a neighborhood in our galaxy that is deemed good for life, so good for humans to inhabit, and it's also known as the Goldilocks zone. So within that zone, there are these gates, and so for you have the connection to very strong to galactic center through your Neptune, which is the dream, is the divine vision for the now, for all of humanity, but all of life. If we could imagine what the divine really is, if we could have a glimpse of what the divine truly is, beyond what we think we know, then that would be your having a glimpse of that and bringing it to Earth through Galactic Center. So through being a extraordinary soul and an ambassador for so many different star systems, you also have this ability to bring through this frequency that is coming through Galactic Center. And for the ones that maybe don't know what Galactic Center is, we are discovering that it is not a black hole, that it is a point of dark energy. So it's fully living and creative, let's call it energy. I don't have the right terms for it, but it's definitely not what we thought it was, and they're still revealing it slowly. So with that, you have the ability to bring information, intelligence through this point that the ancient Mayans left us. Yes, and you have very strong connections. I'm feeling it just now.
Yeah. I just got back from Tulum. Visited
very strong connection.
Yeah, I visited some of the ruins, and I was like, oh, this I know this medicine, I know this lineage, I know this. Like, the Mayan lineage is so with me now.
Absolutely. So let me tell you, I'm feeling it in my body. So thank you for resonating, because so you have this really strong connection to Capella, the star Capella in the Auriga constellation, and that is one of the locations known to be connected to the Mayans. And this is particular information coming from a lady called Elena Danaan, and she very kindly has gifted me the book that she's written. And in this book, she mentions something like 100 star nations information, both benevolent and not so benevolent. And this material is from her book, and the book is called A Gift of the Stars, A Gift from the Stars, rather. And in the book, she says she receives a manuscript from the space authorities. I can't remember exactly what it is, from Russia, and that once this information was available to the public, and no longer is, but she puts this in her book. And so the people of Capella are connected to the Mayans and Mesoamerica, so the ancient ones of Mesoamerica. And I did some research that they are also connected to the pre-Columbian people. I had this fascination for the pre-Columbian people, because I was working with jewelry, and I came across these people that had replicas of the pre-Columbian gold, so pre-Columbian art, and they had left all of this art in gold. So it's, you know, it's still very much, you know, a thing that you can visit in the museum. So I got fascinated by that and started researching the pre-Columbian people, because the people that are depicted in this gold are very much, they really look like star people, you know, they look like they're sitting on ships, and it's quite fascinating if you research. So my research goes that not only they are the Mayans, but beyond, really older than that, the what we would call Mesoamerica and the civilizations that were pre-Columbian. So almost we could say pre-Mayan, but certainly the Mayans carried on that lineage and that information, of which you are super connected. So there is a point in astrology, I don't know if you know much about astrology, but there is a point which is it's like, sometimes we call it the head of the dragon and the tail of the dragon. And so it's like the direction that the soul wants to navigate through through your chart. Shall I show you the chart? Are you okay if I show the chart here on the screen? If I share? Let me show you. Okay, so this is your chart. And so this point here, we're looking at up here, is what is known as the North Node. So this is the direction that your soul wants to go. Although, as you can see, all of these red lines and green lines are telling me all of the different aspects, which means how the planets and the stars are functioning together and working with each other and communicating something with each other. This point in your chart is always the point of your desire to fulfill your reason for being on the planet. And for you is the third house to the ninth house. So this would be the tail of the dragon would be in the third house. So it really means that you are bringing ancient knowledge from the teacher. Like you are the one who has the wisdom, and you are very good at bringing information through. And the desire in this, so this is something that you already know, that you carry from past timelines or lifetimes or times elsewhere in the galaxy. And in this particular timeline, the desire is to gather more of this wisdom and remember more of this wisdom and be in the state of the higher mind, of higher consciousness, for obviously for what the soul wishes to create, which is as I'm sure you will share in a minute a little bit more about the dance and how you bring this through and how you're supporting people through it. So what is interesting here is that, so in astrology, we are looking at the precision of everything. So we're looking at degrees. And so for you is 22 degrees of Gemini. This is the people, but it's also philosophy, the higher mind, the desire to really go out into the cosmos and continue expanding your ability to receive information, which interestingly is connected to galactic center. So for you, very much you're coming in from this information, like you have the knowledge, you have been a teacher and a protector of great wisdom for many lifetimes. So for you in this particular time. Huge connection to, so I was talking about the gates, galactic center, your connection to Capella, which is over here, right next to your North Node. So this shows me that you have had many lifetimes in involvement, let's call it. You are at one with these people that have the knowledge of, as you said, Tulum and Middle Americas today, ancient knowledge, and the desire of your soul is to expand that, is to bring this out, to flower it into this lifetime. And what you can see here is all of these words. So when you can see the symbols all around, they are your planets, and all of the words are the stars connected to your birth chart. But when we look at this particular point, this particular focus in your chart, then you have all of this support. So something very close to you is Capella, as I was saying, which means you will most certainly return that. There is something that you're doing, and you are going to continue that, whether you take this information and this expansion onto the people over there, but they're certainly your people. They are your tribe, as you say. You know that medicine, and you will continue to pick up more of that, embody more of that, and express more of that through whatever and any whichever way that you wish to do it, because it's very much about the people. It's very much about and it's wonderful that you're using, the physical, the body, but at some point it will also go into the element of air, which could mean you're gonna bring a lot, maybe some new ways, because I feel psychology is done, is outdated, what we know as psychology today. So maybe at some point later, it will also bring a new way of learning about consciousness, and continue to bring information. So the next thing here is the Orion Nebula. Excuse me. I did too many calls today. My voice is giving.
No problem.
Orion Nebula is in the Orion zone. So again, massive alignment here, 22 degrees, 22 degrees. Orion Nebula is a hot zone because it's in the Orion zone. Nevertheless, it's a location in our galaxy where a lot of information from beyond this galaxy comes in. And so when I look at your chart, we all have connections to Lyra because of this physical body. All humans are the children of Lyra. And for you particularly, although you have connections to yet another gate, I feel that the Orion zone is your point of entry. You have next to the Orion Nebula a star called Al-Nilam. And Al-Nilam is in the Orion belt. And that star is where highly evolved culture exists. So although the Orion zone is at the moment inhabited by service to self beings, the ancient origins or the original people, or certainly people that have lived there, beings that have been part of the Orion area for a very long time, are in Al-Nilam. So you are bringing so you are part of a culture that is very ancient and highly evolved. So you have the ability to, through all that you do, to always have the higher perspective and brings through a different way of being. And it may be that for now, people may think, but why would you do that? Or why would you live like that? But it's because you know, it's because you know so much more of what it really means to be in unity, in collaboration, in co-creation, which is not necessarily a vibration that we know yet, but you are bringing that frequency through the frequency of your soul. So both the ancients, if you like, the ancient astronauts that, you know, lived on Earth and left the information that we may know as the Mayans, but you're also bringing the future into being through the future cultures and how we could, I want to say, change reality, change the way that we function on planet Earth in the next few years. I mean, you are still very young, so you will bring a lot of new Earth forward. So thank you. Thank you for being here and doing this work. Thank you for agreeing to do this.
Thank you.
Yes, it's resonating.
Oh yes, all of it is so resonant. I'm just soaking it all in, and it feels very timely, you know, that we did arrive right here, right now. Yeah, I mean, I can certainly share more, and I can continue to soak it all up.
Well, let me, so did you want to share something now? You can if you want to.
It's okay, let's keep going, and then I can share some more.
Right. So I know that because there are really many connections for you. The next really strong connection is, and I continue to talk about the Intergalactic Gates, is that you also have connection to the Andromeda Galaxy. And so here is the point of the Andromeda Galaxy. And for you, you have a very strong connection with, obviously, Pluto. This is called an opposition because it's on the other side of Earth. But it gives you an extra strength. And the reason why, for me, the way I explain it is that it is an opposition because it's a tension. It's a point that it wants to inspire you to remember. And it's a bit like the tightness of the strings in an instrument, that if it's not tight enough, then it just won't sound right. And so the tension helps you to, through your own chosen experiences, you will move through that tension and remember, like you will, I want to say, almost you will hear the frequency of your soul and remember aspects of yourself. So this is how I explain the tension of an opposition. It's an important thing that you wanted to remember. And so for you, when I look at your chart, I can see that you are a very dedicated person. You know your being on some level. You know, like, you know, another thing that I can see straight away, you know, the sun here in this point in the chart represents your desire to serve and to serve the tribes and to be in service to groups, you know, soul groups, the ones that really, like, you will know your people, and you will well, I want to say, to be honest, they will come to you because you are very charismatic being. So they will your frequency will attract them. And so this is very much Pluto in the first house opposite Andromeda Galaxy. So you are resonating Andromeda. You are a warrior of peace. This is what the Andromedans have done for thousands, hundreds of thousands of years. They have been upholding peace and the peace agreements, not only on our planet, but in the whole of the galaxy. And they are the ones who could see the future and realize that there was a potential for Earth and all of life on Earth to not make it to the next evolutionary phase. So many Andromedans came to Earth. So you, as an Andromedan envoy, have come with much wisdom and much information that is also to do with unveiling untruths, or really bringing in what is true and standing by to what that means to make sure that evolution on Earth succeeds. And it's a bit like saying the contrast of that, it makes you feel the responsibility for it. There is, on some level, a deep knowing within you that this must be done, and it will happen through you. So this is Saturn at 0 degree, which is known as a critical degree. It's, you know, it's very much knowing yourself, knowing that there is the desire of your soul is to bring this in a way that is structured to Earth. So you are constantly receiving information through the Andromeda Galaxy. You also have connections to the Andromedan constellation with a star called Mirak over here. And this is at 0 degrees, and Saturn is at 0 degrees. So again, another tight string in your instrument. So again, not only your connection to the constellation, but also receiving out of this galaxy intelligence, and the desire to fulfill that through so much of what you do. Yeah, so this is amazingly powerful. And of course, I'm sure you know that you are a powerful being. You have Venus and a star the star is called Regulus, and it represents the heart of the lion. So very much the lioness energy, the goddess energy. And I want to say, you know, also Sekhmet, if you know, I know that you're attracted to coming to Egypt, and it will be amazing when you get here. Sekhmet she is one aspect of Mut, the mother. So she is the mother, but also the fierce aspect of the mother that is standing for, again, truth and justice. So you do this in a very beautiful way because it's connected to Venus here in Leo. So this is a beautiful aspect because it's really not about yourself and about the ego. It's about bringing this depth through beauty to the people. So yeah, in more ways that you maybe know yet, because it's a 29 degrees of Leo. So you have the whole span. Like, if you could imagine that there's 30 degrees to a house in astrology, and you would potentially have done from the 0 degree to the 29th degree, and you arrive at the completion of that. So to be connected through Venus and through the royal star, she's one of the royal stars of Persia. So, you know, this is the queen in you, bringing the beauty to the people, like standing there in your absolute, you could call it power, but it really is the beauty of your soul that you will exude through Venus. And it is to do with the people. And if you kind of step back and just look at all of those red lines and blue lines and whatever they may mean, they're also a sacred geometry structure that represents the beauty and the strength and the desire of your soul. So when you stand away a little bit and you look at the geometry of it, you see that this point is a very powerful point. There are many connections to that diamond, to all different directions in your chart. So very much the strength of you. Yeah, it's a gentle beauty and very powerful. I mean, don't get me wrong. I know that you know this, but you will know this even more as you know the months go by and the years go by, and it's that solidity that you bring to the planet that will transform so much. So I just wanted to mention here, as I was mentioning before, the Neptune being the glimpse of the dream of the divine for humanity, and how you are bringing that through this point, which is again a very busy place, where you are shining that throughout your own constellation. So, you know, this is your own galaxy, if you like, and this is how you are navigating your totality for this particular reason for being, this particular tiny little fraction of, you know, the magnitude and the multidimensionality of you. So I can only have this tiny little fractal of the magnitude of your soul. So don't feel that all that I'm saying is all that you are, because you are this massive soul, and these are just tiny little crumbs of what, you know, truly we can pinpoint at this present time through astrology. So a lot of this is tuning into you and receiving information from you. So, but yes, always know that all the truth is within you, and so I can only have glimpses of that and put it together in a tiny little puzzle, and you know, it's up to you to unravel and use it in whichever way that it's best for you. So Andromeda strong connections are through Pluto and through Saturn, which is over here. So those are the points where you know yourself and you know your power, and now you know that you are the point of which everything is built upon. So this is that responsibility of holding that ground in some way, is as I was saying, a 0 degree. So if ever it feels like, you know what, this is a lot, and it might feel that you're on your own, then remember that you're not, that you have a whole tribe, the Andromedans, and there are many Andromedans on planet Earth right now, so many incarnate Andromedans for you to call a tribe towards you, because there is certainly a lot for you to do if you're willing, with the energy that you bring on the planet. Any questions?
Yeah, that's just super resonant, that point of sometimes feeling lonely, you know, feeling like lonely might be the wrong word, because there's this awareness that I do have all of this support coming from all directions, and yet there's this like, where are the physical people? Where are the actual physical bodies that I can hug and hold and co-create with? And yet there's this knowing that like it's like impossible for those connections to not be made. So it's like, you know, that like you were talking about the bands, it's like feeling that pull of really wanting to have those connections and make it happen now, and it not happening, and knowing it's going to happen, and kind of holding both energies at once. I've had a lot of that in my life, not just in that conversation, but just the yes, and I feel my being is very is practicing holding opposing energies so much in this life. And I feel like I am a bridge. I'm this, like you were saying, the gates or the portals. In so many ways, I have this experience of being the bridge between heaven and earth, between the old and the new, you know, between the feminine and masculine, all these polarities moving right through me, and in those energies is huge. So it's really lovely to see it in this way.
And think you have the ability for all of that. You have, like, you come in with this deep knowing that you can transmute and translate this information that's coming from a much higher frequency and a much more evolved way of being. And yes, I mean, I don't know, but I want to say that even in the dance, it would be like a reenactment of what this love represents, the truth of love, the truth of the divine, the truth of the original dream, the original intention. So there will be lots of that.
Yes.
I want to say ceremony.
Sorry,
like some kind of ceremonial.
Yeah, the ceremony. Yes, ceremonial. And I also know it's not just the dance, like that's an aspect of what I do. And that is, at least in this lifetime, where I have like come to a level of mastery around, like bringing through these codes. And yet it comes through song, it comes through writing, it comes through, just speaking to people, it comes through moving energy through the elements. There's a lot of aspects of that that I'm currently playing in. I think for me, the challenge is, and perhaps there's some answer for this that can come through you or through the chart, but figuring out how to define what I'm offering has been profoundly challenging, because it is so otherworldly that it's really experiential. Like I can't really tell someone, when you work with me or when you come to a retreat or when we're in co-creation, this is what it's going to look like, because it's always different. And even still, even if I wrote out my perfect account of everything that happened in the last session or at the last retreat, it's still, words can't really represent what it is. I hear an
absolutely, because there is no language. Sorry?
I was just saying, I hear an echo. I wasn't sure if you caught all of that.
Yes, I hear you. Is this better? Is this better? Is this good?
Yes, I can hear you.
Good. Absolutely, as you're saying, it's very obvious here. You see, the house of, let's call it creativity, is this house. And so the opposite of that is that point I was saying, this is where with all of the power within you, the goddess, the queen, like the regal beauty that you are shining through. And it's through Leo, it's fire, it's sensual, it's in the body, and with that, it's connected to all of these points. So whichever way you look at it, this is connected, and it's opposite the house of creativity. So in some way, you're using the 5th house to create something new in the 11th house, which is the house of tribe and soul groups. It's about the people and about service to others. So I hear that there will be much creations, and you see, tell yourself this often. You don't need to define yourself, because you are a multidimensional being and you are receiving information from many points outside this galaxy. Like, I have no idea what is beyond this galaxy. I mean, we barely know what's in this galaxy. When they start showing us photographs of how far they've gone. And we're only just here, in our galaxy. So imagine you are this correspondent that is bringing all of this, frequency that has no language, and some of it doesn't even translate in this physicality anyway, but you are the frequency of it. So yeah, there won't be a box. I don't know if you feel that way, but a lot of my clients feel the same, that you don't fit in boxes, so if you had to tick the boxes of who am I, it's like there's not enough boxes, and the boxes that they think it's you, it's really not. So stay with that knowledge that you are not like most people, and it doesn't mean that you are separate, but it means that you have this personal desire to bring through this frequency and become more of this frequency throughout all that you will create. I mean, I can see that you have Mercury here in Virgo, again 29 degrees. 29 degrees is the same as 0 degrees, known as a critical degree. So those degrees represent mastery, represent the fulfilling of that particular beingness. So for you, it's about being the nurturing, devoted feminine, the healer, the giver. I think I said the nurturer. And it is connected to Chiron over here, which in astrology is known as the wounded healer. So we could say that it's through whatever it is that you had to experience throughout your life, or the wounds that were, opened through the experiences, is where you now use that as the gift, as the medicine. I see Chiron in Galactic Astrology as the eye of the shaman, as your ability to have already had experiences that navigated you through the underworld, the shadow dance, and you bring all of that forward. And there is a deep message in that, because as I said, this is the end of all of that wisdom that you gathered throughout many lifetimes and timelines, and you are bringing that again through higher mind, through consciousness. So at some point, there is going to be a synthesis of all that you do through the fire of who you are, because you do have a lot of connections to the fire element here. And you're going to bring this into the finer frequencies, like I want to say is cosmic galactic at some point. I mean, look again of all of this, and I haven't even added all of them because I can only add so many in the system. So we have Betelgeuse or Betelgeuse. So I'll start talking about your Orion connections. And you have connections to this particular star, which is in the Orion zone, and is connected to the beings that are the birds, and the bird beings. They're also known as the blue avians. I feel that there is a deep resonance with the book by Ken Carey. I don't know if you ever read The Return of the Bird Tribes. If you haven't read that book, I recommend it.
I haven't. I will. And that was another, thing that happened in Tulum. I've always felt very fire dominant, but a connection to all the elements. And I have had the ability and the capacity to call in the elements, to work with them, to move energy, in co-creation with the elements. And yet when I was in Tulum, the air element, the birds, the bird medicine, that was like so active and so just in my face. I mean, there was even a point where I was, moving some energy in support of my beautiful soul sister, and I had felt this calling to move this wind element through her like heart and solar plexus, and I felt this like fluttering bird moving through me, and as I was doing it, 2 birds came fluttering and landed right next to us. So yes, the bird, what's it called? Yeah. The Return of the Bird Tribes. Is that what you said?
Yes, I'll write it for you. Yes.
Beautiful.
The Return of the Bird Tribe I Can Carry.
Okay.
Yes, amazing wisdom in that book.
Okay.
So yes. Yes, and also as you speak, I feel that you will bring a language. So I'm not talking about, like some people will say light language, or I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about a frequency that you, in many ways, because it has to do with Mercury. It could be that it's coming through your voice, like literally as you maybe are, running a retreat, or maybe speaking, in whichever way that you will express that. I feel that you will also bring a language through. So, because it's a frequency. So it's not necessarily an audible language. It could be a language that you bring through, as you said, the language of the wind, the language of the birds, through this higher mind connection in that point that's very, very busy in the chart.
Yeah. Busy is a good way to describe it. One of my friends and beloved shaman had said to me one time, "Are you ever not in process?" Meaning like in your life, have you ever just felt like you're not processing something? I'm like, no, not really. It's pretty constant. But it doesn't feel
Yes.
It doesn't feel like a burden, it just is. It's just part of me. Yeah. Thank you. Go ahead.
You are really the other connections that you have that's also really strong. So I spoke about Al-Milan earlier, which is the highly evolved people. Again, through Elena Danaan, they're called the Ohorai, and they are very benevolent in service to humanity and very much assisting this evolution on Earth as well as everywhere. They are the protectors. So very strong connection to your soul through that point that is very busy in your chart, which is also the point that your soul wants to navigate through. You also have amazing connections to Tau Ceti, the star Tau Ceti, which is in the Cetus constellation. And this is connected to your moon. So this is, so they are Lyrans. As I was saying, we all have connections to Lyra because of this physicality. And so many of the Lyrans were dispersed throughout the galaxy once the Orion invasion, the Orion Wars, or sometimes they're called Lyran Wars, but it was the reptilian invasion from the Draco there. From Draco, not originally Draconians. So they were original people that are not reptilians in the Draco, and also the Orion, who are now in the Orion zone. So we have had to move around, and for you have very strong connections to Cetus, particularly Tau Ceti, and they are the people that are, again, highly evolved, very benevolent beings, collaborating with Pleiadians to assist Earth. So really working with sacred geometry. So whatever you do, you're gonna be bringing harmonics that is a frequency harmonics that is through your dance harmonics, that is through maybe whatever it is that you bring. And even the way, so because you have your 0-degree Saturn in the second house, and this is the house of the way you earn or the way you let's call it the way you earn, the way the work that you do through whatever it is that you put out in the world. So this could also mean that you create structures. So you create sacred geometry. Like there are many possibilities for your work in combination with the movement and the embodiment. So this could also be something that you bring through. And so there are two very important cultures in Chalcedon, and the other culture are the Aramani, which are working. So one culture is working with the Pleiadians, so they're close. They're very close. Chalcedon, I think, is 11 light years away, which is close. The other stars are further away. And the other beings are the immersers, and they look, I don't know if you ever had any physical or visions of your people, of your helpers, but these are the ones that are working with the harmonics, and they are not looking so much like the physical body that is a human, but they are humans. They just have created their body to fit their environment. So they are the immersers, and they are peaceful beings. So Hyades are the ones that are assisting you with the dream of the divine. So if you remember the point where let me show you again.
I remember.
Yeah,
that one.
So they would be over here, and they're working with this point. So basically what this means is that you are bringing the future also through the ability of creating. It's not about creating, it's about knowing some kind of future. It is to do with consciousness and higher mind, and the Hyadians are very much working with technology. So evolution, technology for evolution. And so we will definitely see in the next, I'm sure in the next 10 years, technology will be in a massive leap, and you can bring some kind of wisdom information that is the future, is from the future, connected to the Hyades, and it's possibly it's very close to your Chiron. As I say, this is the shaman eye, the ability to see medicine and become the medicine, through the wound into the pearl. They're also Lyrans, and they are particularly working with, also it's to do with medicine, but not the medicine that we know today, but because of you tell me, the movement medicine, and how you are going to bring so much of this power and strength, but also structure. I'm looking at the planets and I'm doing my hands like that, and you're bringing this into the higher mind. So I want to say that perhaps it is also going to be connected to potentially dream time, because you have this ability to bring all of this information from beyond the galaxy So some kind of dream work. I mean, I can't translate that because maybe it's not here yet. But you have a better ability to tune into that than I can. So maybe something to do with that, some future forward dreaming. In fact, I don't know if you know, there is an event soon which is about envisioning the future forward. So you certainly have this ability to look beyond this timeline. So you are the master of time. This is one of your masteries, and you can bring that, you know, if you like, the prayer of the future grandmothers, you know, forward for this timeline, and the prayers of the grandmothers that came before, you know, the divine feminine ones that worked before you, and the ancient ones forward. So you have this ability to somehow, again, synthesize this into something that is for evolution of consciousness. It goes back here to Gemini, the ability to bring hemispheres together. As you said, you're always working in balancing the polarities and being the bridge. So it is something to do and connected with balancing polarities.
Yes.
Any question? Go
No,
ahead.
just bringing it all in when you were talking about the future timelines. It's like I was just seeing both sides of it, like what you were saying, you know, like I could go forward and kind of pull it. I don't even know how to explain it. I was just having this vision and just this reminder that I can like magnetize with that sun energy the future timelines to the now. I don't always have to go out and get it and bring it back. I can like stay and invite it in. So that was just a download that was present as you were saying it. And I feel I feel excitement just about it. I'm grateful for this space because I have been in a time in my life where I'm straddling the line between where I am now and what I know is happening, and not just for myself, but for the collective, right? This entire evolution of humanity, I can see it, and I've been able to see it for so long, and I've been in this fatigue, like, I can see it for so long. I can see it, and I'm making steps toward it, and you know, I've just been in this energy of like, okay, where does it happen? Like, where do the two come together? And you know, that answer is not obvious, and that's okay. But I do feel a sense of just excitement about knowing that it's happening and that I can command the time to some capacity. I feel like whatever fatigue I was in is being absorbed into something more supported. So thank you.
Wonderful. Well, I'm so glad that you shared all of that, you know, on the video, so others can hear you, but also you can hear yourself, because this is beautiful insight and powerful insight. And absolutely, I feel that so many of us that have been holding these timelines and this point, you know, where I feel that so many of us have done their part, and now it's like we're almost there. So yes, this sense of excitement, and yet it's like, oh, maybe we're not there yet. Oh, maybe no, not yet. So yeah, absolutely. So
Yeah.
thank you so much. I share most of the points that I wanted to share with you, and there is a whole lot more, because there's always a whole lot more. There is another star which is connected to your sun, and that's another royal star of Persia. So you have two ancient deemed royal stars, and really bring that, yes, that beauty, that regal frequency that you carry, and very close to your sun. So and I know that your sun has Venus next to it, so I don't worry, because sometimes all of that can, you know, make you rise so fast, but you are so connected and so in tune with all of the galactic frequency. But if ever it feels like it's too much, then because of all the fire in your chart, then go to water, you know, go to the ocean, go to a body of water, or even, you know, lie under the shower and let, you know, the water just soothe you, because you are such amazing potential for humanity. It's like you carry all of those. If I could create a sacred geometry hologram of you, it's like a powerhouse of potential for humanity on planet Earth. So you're doing all of that for others. All of your chart is about service. So thank you so much for being here and for this time together. And yeah, so reach out anytime. Yes, I am
building of all of that. Thank you. I really,
yes,
really
anytime. Absolutely.
Thank you.
And would you like to share a little bit more about your work before we finish this video?
Well, you know, I would say if anyone's interested, follow me on Instagram at Gina Starbuck. There's many facets. I will say though, in this conversation, I was reminded of a really special offer that I meant to do that had come to me, you know, shown to me, that I have not yet birthed. And so I don't even know what I'm calling it yet, but there's this offer that where I will tune in to a person's heart, their womb, just their essence, their being, and bring through the language, the lineage of their soul through sound. And so if anyone, this is the first the first time I'm sharing it. So if anyone would like to be, you know, a receiver of that, I would be happy to share that, and just reach out to me and we'll discuss details.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. So I'll put your details in the video comments, and thank you so much, my dear. It was an honor and a pleasure to have this moment with you and to look into the wisdom of your soul and all of that you bring on earth. So I am so excited for you and for what is coming. So stay in touch.
Thank you. I appreciate you. What a beautiful gift. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. So
much love, dear. Have a beautiful day.
You too.
And thank you everyone for watching this video, and please like it and share it if it inspires you. And if you would like to know about my work, all of the information is below. And if you want to follow Gina, there will be her information too. So sending you all much love, and to the next time. Bye bye. Thank you, Gina.